Now let's understand how to use this Docker Scout to scan images. So basically this Docker Scout is an in-house product of Docker. It will analyze your image contents and it will generate a complete detailed report of packages and all the vulnerabilities that it detects. Okay. Not only that, it will also provide you with the suggestions on how to resolve these issues detected by Docker Scout. Okay, like which package has a severity level as critical, how to fix it, in which version this is fixed. In fact, if you are using Dockerfile to create an image and if that image has a lot of security level issues, your Docker Scout can also give you suggestions on what base image you should use, like what tag you should use. Okay, so it will also give you that sort of suggestions. Okay, and also it will give you a software bill of materials. Okay, so the software bill of materials is very important. Okay, so it will give you detailed information about your image inventory, like what all packages, what all layers you have in the image, the packages, versions. Okay, that entire information is available in software bill of materials. Okay, so why this SBOM is required? Any idea? So why should I have the details of what all packages that my image has?
to
Any
update
idea?
in future, like if any version
Okay, let's
changes.
say someone found an issue with a package known as ping. Okay, correct? They found an issue with this ping in version 1.4 and they have assigned a CVE number. Okay, and also they have fixed this in 1.4.2. Okay, so this is information about a security related issue. Okay, they have CV also assigned to it. Now, when I have an image, so that I have to see whether that image has this ping or not. Correct. Then I have to generate that SBOM. That SBOM should have the details of whatever packages I'm using and then in what version they are running. Correct. Then only I can correlate that information with the known existing CVEs, right? So whether my image is impacted by that severity or not, that issue or not. Correct. Right, guys?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
If I don't have that database, how will I compare? Okay, for example, Docker Scout. Okay, so it has to do a scan of lot of images on daily basis. Okay, so for example, if there is a security issue which is coming from ping version 1.4, now Docker has to know what all images are impacted by this ping version 1.4. Correct. Even within my organization, let's say there is this known issue that is found with one package. Now I should know what all images got impacted with that package version. Correct. So without having SBOM for all the images, it becomes hard for me, to see what all images that are impacted by the CV. Okay, that's the reason why software bill of materials is important for all the Docker images. Okay, so if I have SBOM, I can compare it with some known databases. Again, this is important. So how will your Docker Scout or any scanning tools knows that my particular ping package, which I have in my container image, is impacted by this CV? So how do they know? So they have to compare it with some known databases, right? So you have lot of databases that maintain this security related information. Okay. So your Docker Scout takes that reference from a lot of such databases, advisory databases. So there are more than 20 sources it refers before, deciding whether a particular image is impacted with a known CV or not. Okay. So there are a lot of security advisory sources we will see. Okay. You have one from GitLab, from Ubuntu, from Debian. Okay. So there are a lot of sources that actually maintains this particular information. Okay. So Docker Scout, we can use it in Docker Desktop. You can use it in Docker Hub. You can use it through CLI. Okay. It can also integrate with third-party systems like SonarQube, ECR, AWS ECR, JFrog Artifactory. Okay. So by default, you can scan all the local images just like Trivi does. Okay, you can do it for free locally. Okay, but if you want to analyze these images in Docker Hub or JFrog or anything like that, so you need to, have some subscription, and also you need to enable it first. Okay, by default, Docker Scout will not scan your images inside your Docker Hub. Let's say I pushed an image like my username slash go single or go multi. So by default, I can run the security scan, that is Docker Scout scan locally in my CLI. But within the Docker Hub, without enabling that scan to these two images, your Docker Scout will not run those security scan on the repository. So why should I run it in Docker Hub? Anyways, I'm just running it in my CLI. Why should I run it on Docker Hub? The reason why I should run it on in Docker Hub is, so Docker Hub or Docker Scout will continuously scan those images. Okay, so if I'm scanning in my local machine, I will do it only once. Okay, in case if I need to do it again, I'll run that CLI command. But Docker Scout is not like that. Okay, so it will continuously scan those images which are available in the Docker Hub time to time. Okay, and also it will provide you the historical data. Okay, let's say I pushed one image like 1.0 today, so tomorrow I'll push it to 2.0. Okay, similarly, I'll keep on pushing those latest tags. So what Docker Scout in the remote can do is, it will show you whether your image that you're pushing, okay, is actually resolving your security issues, or you're further worsening it. Got it? Understood?
Yeah, understood. You can.
Okay, so let's say 1.0 has some severities 3. In 2.0, you try to fix, but you have, introduced some more issues, which means you are further worsening it. Okay, so that sort of information will also be detected by your, Docker Scout in the uh, web, that is remote scanning. Okay. Now coming to the advisory data sources, so we said that so a Docker Scout will generate an SBOM. SBOM means it will have details of your image. So now, in order to see whether a particular package is impacted with a CVE or not, so it has to compare with known databases. So these are all the known databases that Docker Scout will take the reference before deciding whether a particular image is impacted by that CVE or not. Okay. So Docker Scout will use that SBOM that it creates, compares it with the known databases to see whether your image is impacted, like what all packages that got impacted, in which version they are impacted, which version you are running, in which version they are fixed. So that complete information will be provided by your Docker Scout. Okay, so this is the advantage of using SBOM. And Docker Scout supports all these programming languages. Okay, and package ecosystems like .NET, GitHub packages, Golang packages, Python, Ruby. So it detects issues with all these package ecosystems. Okay, and coming to SBOM, we already discussed. Okay, so the reason why SBOM is required is, so we know that an application package a lot of third-party libraries or dependencies. Okay, so you need to track these dependencies continuously. Okay, if you're running your application in the production or releasing it to production, you should know what all packages you're using, what are their limitations, their known issues, their versions running. Okay, you should maintain a proper documentation. Okay, so Docker has this, relatively older command called Docker SBOM. So currently this is not available. Okay, so if you just do Docker SBOM and give the name of the image, so it is going to give you all the packages that are part of that image. Okay, so you can see when I do Docker SBOM Neo4j, so it is detecting all the packages, their versions, and what sort of package it is, whether it is coming from Java or it is an OS package coming from Debian, all those things. Okay, so this is not the only command. So if you see, Trivi also has a particular command to generate an SBOM. Docker Scout, in fact, has its own command to generate an SBOM. Okay, And coming to image analysis, as we already discussed, you can do unlimited analysis locally. But when you have to scan them in Docker Hub, you need to go for Docker Scout subscription. So you have free tier, as well as I think couple of other subscription levels are there. Okay, so using free tier, you can scan only 3 repositories. Okay, you have an option to only scan or enable Docker Scout only for 3 repositories. Anything more than that, you'll be asked to upgrade your membership, subscription. Okay, and by default, the repositories, whatever we have 3 free repositories that we can scan, right? So you need to enable those repositories, enable Docker Scout for those repositories. Otherwise, those repositories will not be scanned. Okay, and coming to the subscription level, you can just refer the official documentation. The documentation is pretty lengthy, but we will not be seeing all the features. Okay, so you can just go to this Docker Scout and understand all these details. And coming to the subscription levels, you have 3. So one is free, in which you can scan 3 repositories, okay, using Docker Scout. And then you have team, and then you have business. Okay, so these are the various subscription levels. Okay, as I already said, Docker image analysis will not be enabled for your 3 repositories in free tier. So you have to log into Docker Scout, that is scout.docker.com, by signing in with your Docker ID. And then you need to, just go to the settings tab. Okay, one second. So you need to just click on the settings, go to repository settings, then you will find all the repositories that you have. You just have to enable the scan for 3 repositories. So then only Docker Scout can start. Okay, so if you see, I just activated, Docker scan for this repository, and you can see Scout analysis is active. So I'm using 1 out of 3 from this plan. Okay, and once you have analysis enabled, you can see a lot of details. Okay, so you can see the common vulnerabilities, the base images, the packages that has issues, the overview of your scan. Okay, that is the dashboard. Okay, so if you enable for a repository, you will also see the architecture in which this image is built, its tag. Okay, so these are all critical, high and medium level issues. So you also have some policies, okay, in Docker Scout. So let's say I want to qualify an image to be launched into production if certain criteria is met. Okay, so what is that criteria? Okay, so it is decided in the policies. Let's say I'll say if there are 0 critical issues, then I'll consider this as a good image to be released to production. Okay, so those are all the rules. Okay, so we call it as policies. Okay, so by default, Docker Scout has some policies, like 7 policies, and it is saying this particular image is compliance with only 2 of the existing 7 policies, which means this is a very, this is not a good image. And also you can see, it is giving me this historical data, like trend analysis, you can say. It is saying, I pushed this particular image with the same tag multiple times. Okay, so the image security level things are not improved. So which means even though I try to fix something by changing the packages versions, or try to fix them, but it has not improved my image at all. It has further worsened it. Okay, which means I just included lot of other data every time when I try to push this particular tag. I introduced new set of vulnerabilities. Got it? Clear, guys?
Yes, Vikram.
Okay. You can see, if you go to this tab here, you can see the critical high level issues. So this is not targeting a single image. Okay. So this scout is for your complete, the repository. So if you have three repositories enabled for Docker Scout, it will show you all the, critical high level securities, severities from all those images. Okay. And with this, you have the CV here, which is detected in one of the images. Okay. You can also see whether there is a fix or not. There is a fix, and this is fixed in this particular version. Okay. And this is coming to local image analysis. So you have Docker Scout CLI. I can do Docker Scout quick view and then give the name of the image. So it is going to give you this complete data, just like Trivi. Okay. So all critical, high, medium, low level issues. And then once you, run this quick view, you should run Docker Scout CVES. Okay. To see what all severities it has. Okay. And finally, you should run Docker Scout recommendations to see how can I fix that particular image. Okay. And Docker Scout gets installed by default with Docker Desktop. You don't have to install it manually. But in case if you have to install it manually, you just install the Scout plugin, and that plugin will be available to you. In fact, that plugin also comes as a container image, just like your Trivi. Okay. And this is the command for SBOM. Okay. So you can just run Docker Scout SBOM and then give the format to be list. Okay. So it will give you the SBOM for the complete Alpine. Okay. So Alpine has these many packages, all are coming from APK, which is a package manager. And this is the current version that has. See, SBOM is not an indicator, for the issues. Like it won't give you whether a package is impacted by a CVE or not. Okay. It is just, um, you know, what do you say? A document of all the dependencies of your image. Got it? Clear, guys? So it will not say this busy box is impacted by this known CV and this is the version in which it is fixed. It is not for that.
Uh,
Okay.
Vikram, who this is where the Docker Scout or some tool, right? Like generally, I have, let's say I have an application. Who creates this SBOM in the initial phase? Like developers and administrations create the SBOM.
Now developers can create it in order to see what all versions they are running. Even as a DevOps engineer, you can also create and use it for your scanning purposes.
How do you use it? Like, I mean, you say that I have a ping vulnerability. Now I have an how do I use the particular package to know? Okay, this is how I understood. Like in the above example, there is a vulnerability. It's like a must MUSL, like OpenSSL. So how do I pass OpenSSL package to know which all images are present? And like, let's say I have 100
See,
images.
that you cannot do. See, using SBOM, you will know only the packages related information. So you need to take the help from other tools that will analyze this SBOM, like Docker Scout, Trivi. So they will take this input, or they will actually generate this on the fly in order to see that information, like whether your package is impacted or not.
Yeah, these give output, right? They take input from the SBOM as well.
Yeah, but they will generate it on the fly, and then they will see whenever I'm doing Docker Scout, quick view followed by the name of the image. So I'm not generating this SBOM. So what Docker Scout and other tools will do, they will generate the SBOM and then they will use the SBOM as the reference for scanning. Okay.
Right.
I may not see it, they will generate it, they will use it. But if I have to know like the SBOM just for my understanding, so I can create one. Okay.
Okay.
And coming to policy evaluation, so you also have policy evaluation in Docker Scout. So this is just like to see whether a particular image is good or bad, whether it can be released to the production or not. Okay, so I will have certain policies and I will see whether my particular image is compliance with all those policies or not. Okay. So this is where policy evaluation comes into the picture. You can also create your own policy or use the ones which already Docker Scout has. I think Docker Scout has 9 of them and 7 are always enabled. Okay, so for example, let's say I have a policy. Okay, so that policy says uh, an image should not have critical level vulnerabilities. Then what will happen if I scan an image and if it has critical level issue, then that image will not be considered. So it's a, we can consider that as a policy evaluation failure. Okay. So for example, let's say, anyways, these policies run within the Docker Hub. But if I have to invoke a policy check against an image, so I can use Docker Scout policy, the name of the organization, and the platform which I wanted to run this policy check, and the name of the image and the tag. Then it will show you, let's say I have certain policies like 7 I said. So in which 4 by 7 are 3 of them are not met. So only 4 of them are, complaints like copyright issues. I don't have critical vulnerabilities. I don't have in that image. Okay, again, so there is one issue called default non-root user. Okay, this is one of the policy. So I should make sure that the container images should not run with root user, but my container image is running with root user. So this is a policy failure. So the evaluation will fail here. Your image is not compliant. Got it? Got it. And also, so for policy evaluation to actually, work perfectly, you need to include two important information. Okay, so one is provenance. So what is this provenance is? So basically when you're trying to build an image, okay, so you can also embed information about your build processes, like when did you run this build, okay, in which environment, source code details, okay, like what all scripts and files that you have used during the build. Okay, so you can also provide this information along with the Docker build, so that your Docker Scout and all can use this extra information. Okay, so how do you include this extra provenance information is using Docker build. When you're tagging the image, you need to attest it. Type is provenance, and what level of information you wanted to include, whether it is maximum leveling information or minimum level. Okay, so you need to include this. The other information that you need to include is SBOM. Okay, you should also attest the SBOM related information. Okay, in order for the policy evaluation to be more impactful. Okay, so like SBOM means the name of the artifact, the versions, the license type, the other information. Okay, so like what is the type of the package. So everything I can attest along with this particular image by using hyphen attest type set to SBOM. Okay, or else you can include both provenance and SBOM information by simply doing hyphen provenance set to true, SBOM set to true. Then you generate the image and push it. So that will be really useful for your um, Docker Scout policy checks. Okay, so I'm not saying this, with my experience and all. So this is actually included in the, what do you say, Docker Scout documentation, like what all things you need to include. Okay, so that is where, from there only, I'm just giving that information. Like you can see, policy check is in the early access stage. And here only they have given that information, like what all things, you can see here, what all things you need to attest. Like you need to give the provenance information, SBOM information. Okay, so the Docker's policy requires that you have artifacts that have both SBOM and provenance attestations. Okay, then only it will be, your scan will be more in depth. Okay. So this is about Docker Scout. There are a lot of things. So first thing is, you need to install Docker Scout CLI. You need to enable your repositories to use Docker Scout. Then you can also analyze your image against a set of policies. Okay, so these are the various things that you can do in Scout. So what I suggest you is just go through the documentation, because the documentation is pretty huge. Okay, So we will not be able to cover all these things. And also there is this repository, quick start repository, so which we will be cloning it, and we'll be working with a lot of Docker Scout commands. Okay, like how to clone this, run our local image analysis, how to enable the remote image analysis. Okay, so we will see what are the issues that that image has. Let's also try to fix some. Okay, so now we will see how to use this Docker Scout both at the CLI level and Docker Hub level. So for this, I'm going to refer the official documentation. So if you go to this manuals page, you'll find Docker Scout here. Okay, like how to use Docker Scout, how to install the policy evaluations, integrations, and all. Okay, and also there is this quick start guide where you can clone this repository and build the image and push it to Docker Hub. Okay, and then you can enable Docker Scout in the repository, and then start to scan your images. Okay, so you can follow this particular Git repository in order to see how Docker Scout works. Okay, so we are going to follow this. Okay, so first let me just clone this into my Linux VM. Okay, and then I'll run some commands. Okay, so you have here Docker Scout dashboard, which I'll show you. So once we log in into Docker Scout, and this is how the dashboard looks like. Okay, so you have various tabs here. Okay, so like you can see the images, all the policies that Docker Scout has, the base images that you're using for your images, the packages that all your images are packing, and vulnerabilities. So all these are, you can see in the Docker Scout dashboard. You can also see the policy status, whether some images are compliant or they are not compliant, non-compliant. That also you can, see in the dashboard itself. Okay, and using Docker Scout, you can analyze the files locally or in the Docker Hub. Okay, so if I click on analyze local files, okay, so I can use all these commands. So Docker Scout is a CLI command. Okay, so you have quick view, CVES, and also there is another command called recommendations. So that will show you how to fix those, issues. And then you can also create SBOM using Docker Scout SBOM and name of the image. And you can give the format in which you want to print the SBOM. And this is how you print. Okay. And also, as we already discussed, we can attach SBOM and also provenance as attestations to the image. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday I was talking about, how do you get the SBOM, right? So, so this is the command. So once you embed the SBOM into your image, you can actually see that SBOM information using Docker BuildX image tools. Okay. So this is one command, and coming to the policy evaluation. So you can do policy evaluation locally, and also you can see it in Docker Hub, Docker Scout dashboard. So for CLI, you need to use this Docker Scout policy command and some flags followed by the name of the image. Then you can see what all policies that are failed and what are compliant. Okay, so what your Docker image is following. And coming to the integrations, we will not see these integrations, but you can integrate with ECR, JFrog Artifactory, and all these things. So first, what we will do is, we'll anyways we just cloned this repository. So what we will do is we'll first try to build this and push it to our Docker Hub. After that, we will see various features. Okay. So let me go to this repo and show you what are the contents. So here you have some JavaScript based application, and this is the Docker file to build it. Okay. So it is taking the from instruction. It is taking Alpine as the base image with 3.14 as the tag, and they also included some SHA here, some environment variables. They are installing Node.js on top of Alpine, copying package.json, and then they are installing all the dependencies. Okay, and then they are copying rest of the files, and then they are just starting the Node.js based application so which runs on 3000 port. Okay. So first what we'll do, so we will try to build it. So Docker build -t. Remember, you need to push it to your Docker hub, so you need to tag it. So with your username, so I'll say Docker Scout demo v1. Okay, and also I'll use --push dot so that the images can be pushed to the repository. Clear, guys? So this is the first step. Okay, as we already discussed, you can analyze the images locally and also in the Docker Scout dashboard. Okay, so let me go back to the quick start guide. Okay, so once you build and push it, okay, so you need to enable your repository, okay, to be able to scan by the Docker Scout, but this is only for your Docker Scout dashboard. Okay, but locally you can analyze it without actually using Docker Scout dashboard or the cloud offering. Okay, I think I need to log in. Okay, so then I have to push it. Okay, so first let's see the dashboard as well. So this is Docker Hub, and this is the image that I just pushed. So let me see this image first. Okay, so currently, this image is not being scanned by Docker Scout. Okay, and I need to go to this dashboard, that is Docker Scout, scout.docker.com. So if you go to this site, once you go to this site, you need to log in with your Docker Hub credentials. But it is saying there are no images in your repository for this organization that Docker Scout can scan, because you need to first enable Docker Scout for any of your repository. So in your free tier, you have, up to 3 repositories you can scan. Okay. So how do you enable Docker Scout for a specific repositories? You can just go to the settings, click on repository settings here. Okay. And then you need to select the repository that you wanted to enable. Okay. So I just pushed this image called Docker-Scout, right? So we need to enable it, this one. Okay, I just created 1 minute ago. So I'm just enabling activate image analysis for this repository. Okay, and once you activate it, it will take some time. Okay, you can see Docker Scout analysis active now. So once it is done, you can just click on this overview to go to the main dashboard. Okay, any questions, guys? Any questions?
Okay.
Okay, it will take some time. Um, okay, you can see the data is slowly populating, right? Okay, so let me go to the images. Okay, so this is the image that Docker Scout is running its analysis. And this is the tag V1. Architecture is AMD 64. Okay, you can see the total number of, vulnerabilities. So severities are 2, critical levels are 2, 18 high and 7 medium, 0 low, and 1 is unspecified. Okay, and coming to the policy checks, only 2 of them are complaints. So this is not a very good Docker image. So if I just click on this 2 by 7, you can see which of these checks passed and which checks failed. Okay, so currently there are no high profile vulnerabilities. In that way, your image is compliant, and there are no copyright licenses, copyleft licenses Okay, so I think they are all open source licenses that your image is using. So that is also fine. But there are some critical level issues. Your image is running as non-root user. I mean, it is running as something like root user. Okay, so there are critical and high level issues. Okay, and then you're using outdated base images. Okay, so these are all the policy checks that your image failed. Okay, and you can also see all the packages that you're trying to use for all your images. Okay, it is not just for your single image. Okay, so let's say if I just talk about this safer buffer, so this is an npm package which is being used by one image. So which image is using this package? I can just click on that. You can see one of my images using that. Okay, and coming to this vulnerabilities. Okay, so these are all the the security levels uh, for your complete Docker Scout, because this is just for your account. Okay, so this CVE, which is very critical, okay, it is detected in one of the image. Okay, so if I just click on the image again, you will see my image name for which the Scout is enabled. Okay, I can also see what is that issue here. Let me go back. I'll just click on that issue. Okay. Um, so the critical one, right? Okay, you can see here. So these are all the sources. Okay. So from where Docker, Scout took the references. Okay. As I already said, Docker Scout has various advisory databases, right? Okay, you can see these are all the databases that flagged that particular dependency as a critical level security concern. Okay, you can see all has rated 9.8 out of 10. Clear? Understood, guys?
Yes, Vikram.
Okay, so you can go back to the policies here. So by default, I think there are 9 of them, and Docker Scout is using, I think, 7. Okay, so let me, yeah, so Docker Scout policies are 9, and disabled policies are 2. Okay, so these are all the policies, that Docker Scout is using. Okay. You can also see which images are compliant and which of them are not. Okay. And coming to the overview dashboard, you will see all this information in a single dashboard. Okay. Your policies, your how many vulnerabilities are there, how many of them are critical, high, medium, and all these things. Okay. So this is at the dashboard level, but how do I analyze it at the local level, and how do I get the recommendations, on how to fix it? Okay. So once you have the image pushed, okay, just see whether you have Scout installed or not. Okay, it says Docker Scout is not a Docker command because we are not using Docker desktop. So you need to install this Scout. Okay. So for this, let me uh, click on analyze local files. Somewhere you'll uh, find the installation documents. Okay. Let me search. Okay, so I think I have to go to this repository, Docker Scout CLI. And as I already said, it comes with Docker desktop, but for the other things, you need to install it. Okay, so I can just run this script. Okay, just copy that script and run it. Okay, and try to run Docker Scout again. Okay, so this time it is working. Okay, so there are other subcommands in Docker Scout like CVES, quick view, recommendations. So these are the, you have also policies. So these are the four commands that we understand. Okay, so first thing is we will try to scan our images using quick view command. Okay, so Docker Scout, quick view, and the name of the image. So this is the name of the image. Okay, so you can see it has two critical level issues, 18 high, 17 medium, 1 unknown and 0 low. Okay, the same thing we saw in the Docker Scout dashboard as well. Okay, and if you want to see all the security vulnerabilities, so I need to run Docker Scout CVES to see all the CVEs related information. Okay, you can see all the CVEs. Okay, so critical level CV, this is a CVE number. Okay, so this is introduced in this OpenSSL package in Alpine. Okay, so this is the affected version. Okay, like 1.11.1, and it is fixed in this. So less than this version, in OpenSSL, less than this version, you'll find this critical issue. In this version, it is fixed. Okay, and that too, if you see, this is actually coming from the Alpine. Okay, Alpine 3.14. Okay, specifically in that particular Docker image. Okay, so I can just uh just copy that link. Let's see more about this CV. Okay, so it says this is identified in OpenSSL related to X509 certificates. Okay, and under this you will also see in Alpine. Okay, inside Alpine image OpenSSL. So this issue is found, which is impacting all the versions less than this number, and it is fixed in this number. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to find this Alpine based image that has OpenSSL of this version so that you can fix that particular CV. Okay, got it, guys? How do I get that recommendation? So now I just have the CV information, and I also have the version in which that issue is fixed. Okay, so one thing I can do is I can just take Alpine latest image and then try to scan it and see. Okay, so which means inside the Docker file I can just change Alpine base image to something latest and I can see. Okay, but I will also get some recommendations using Docker Scout, recommendations. Okay, see, this is the complete recommendation matrix. Okay, it says, if you take the tag as 3, okay, um, okay, it is asking you to rebuild the image using a newer base image version. So if you use 3, okay, then you will see that the critical level, issues are now 0. Okay, so which means you can reduce 2 of them. Okay. Similarly, you can also use 3.16. In that also, you will not find any severities, critical severities. Okay, clear, guys? Guys, understood?
Yes.
So Vikram, like in Trivi also we get recommendations, right?
Yeah, we'll get. Okay, so they asked us to, use Alpine 3. So let me delete the rest of the show. Okay, Alpine 3. Let me save it and try to build this again. So let me call it as V2. It says, oh,
Uh,
sorry. I think there is a typo here. So I'm building with a different base image now. So not only this, not, you know, sometimes changing the base image might not be required. In that case, what we'll try to do is we'll try to update the packages to the latest version. So that will also fix, these issues. Okay. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll try to get quick view of this V2 tag that we built. Okay, so you can see here, there are 0 critical issues in this case. Okay. And of course, there are 2 high level, so high level security concerns here. But if you try to use 3.8, even that is also not there. Okay. So let me go back to Docker Scout and go to the images. Okay, since Docker Scout is enabled for that repository, even the tag should be scanned. Okay, you can see now your image is 3x7 compliant. Okay, and there are 2 of the issues which we high level severities which are still there in the image. Right, guys? Okay, so let's also try to fix it by changing the base image to 3.18.
is
Okay,
V1 removed from the Scout list actually?
sorry.
V1 version is removed from the Scout dashboard. I mean, in the UI.
It's here.
Okay.
Once you click on. Okay, and also I'm using, see, one of the policies says, you should not use, uh, a user which is root. So using user Dockerfile command, I'm setting it as non-root. Okay, it can be any root user, but non-root user, I'm just giving that name. And I try to build it now using V3. Okay, so this should fix the 2 high level severities, and also it should now satisfy one of the policy, that is using a non-root user policy. Okay, so that policy check, we are actually seeing it in the dashboard, but we can also see it in the local. So I'll come to it in some time. Okay, so V3, so there are no issues, but still it is analyzing the policies. It takes time. Okay, I think still there are 2. Okay, and just for V3, let's see quick view. I think why it is still showing 2 high levels, because it is a recommendation that it has given, right? Base image to 3.18. 3.18. Okay, so probably it is coming from the other things that we added, right? Correct. Because after taking that base image, we are actually adding some more. Okay, but what if I just try to scan the base image itself? Probably that doesn't has, the high level severities. Okay, you can see that base image doesn't has, all those issues. But once you try to add all these packages, these packages might introduce some CVEs. Okay. I can click on this V3 and see so why these high severities are there. Okay, and here see default non-root user is now compliant because we set the user. So let me go back to this. Okay, so some severity is coming from npm packages as we already said. So some issues can come from the all the dependencies that we use. Okay, so it says that dependency is from some QS package. Let me see if that package is there in packet.json. I mean, the developer would understand this, like what is that package and all. Okay, any questions, guys?
What are the recommendations for this V3? I mean,
Okay, let me see. So there is only one recommendation, that is to update it to 3.19. Okay. And here what it is saying, recommended fixes is 3.18, that is fine. Okay, so that is one recommendation that Docker Scout is giving. Okay, so I can also see the CVs. Okay, these are all coming from npm. Okay, these are not coming from your base image. Okay, and one is coming from Express. Okay, so which has version less than 4.17.3, but it is fixed in 4.17.3. Okay, so let me go to packet.json. Okay, so which version of Express we are using? We are using Express 4.17, right? So in in .3 it is fixed. So let me just change it. Okay,
the
let's see.
package.json is a file auto-created locally.
Yeah. Okay, let me build it with new tag v4. Okay, let's see the recommendations, or let's get the CVs for v4. Okay, I think no CVs are there. So if I just go to the images, I think complaint scan is still running. Okay, 3 out of 7 passed, but if you see, so we don't have any high or critical level severities. And you can see slowly this compliance level is also increasing. So 5 out of 7 policies are passed. Okay, outdated base images, I think it doesn't has that data, so it's not. Okay, supply chain attestations. Okay, so what is the supply chain attestations? We already discussed this, right? So you need to attest SBOM and that provenance related information. Okay, so for this, when you're trying to build it, okay, so you also build it with hyphen SBOM equal to true. So this is only required in case if you want to embed those informations, and then provenance set to true, and then try to push it again. Okay, let me just push it with V5. Okay, and let me go back. Okay, V5. Okay, it says 2 violations found here. Let me view details. Okay, SBOM attestation required. It says state missing. I'm not sure what is this. Now this is what we have done. Docker buildx build. But that's the
Are we
default.
using that builder, right? Builder.
Yeah, that's what I'll try to use buildx. Build it and then push it with V6.
Vikram, what does the provenance means?
So as I said, it will include build related information like what all files we are using, the timestamp of the build, if we are using any shell scripts. Okay, so that extra metadata will be added through this provenance. And SBOM is the actual SBOM. Okay, software bill of materials. And this is only required for this, Docker Scout. It's not required for everything. Okay, again, it is saying some policies are missing. I'm not sure. Okay, you can just leave it off because we already added everything, but still it says otherwise learn how to remediate. Okay, again, it is pointing to the same documentation. Okay, maybe it will take some time to scan the image and then make it compliant. Okay.
Vikram, before adding this SBOM to the image, we are also able to retrieve the packages list, right?
Yes.
Then again, why we are adding it to the metadata?
Because we are not actually, scanning your image. Let's say, Docker Scout will take the reference of all the packages that we have through that SBOM only. Okay.
But we are pushing it in the just now we started pushing in the V6, right? But in the V1, V2 also we are able to get the list of packages, right?
Yeah, but that is locally available. It is not embedded into the image. what are SBOM information and all, whatever we are seeing, let's say, if I want to see the SBOM information for this V6, okay. So currently I've attested it in the image, okay. So it will be in the form of a metadata in the image. It won't be in the actual image. Okay, but if I have to see that data locally, okay, I need to use this command, docker scout SBOM. Okay.
Can you run the same command on V1?
No, it will be there. Because here you are locally calculating it. It is not available in the image as the metadata. So introduce to you that in the V6. Okay, even if you take any image, so Docker can actually calculate the SBOM for that image. See, attestation means you are attaching it to the image so that Docker Scout can use that information. Okay, so in case if you're using any multi-stage builds and all, right? When you're building it, it will also get a SBOM of all the stages and attach it to that particular image. Okay. So build attestation describe how an image was built and what it contains. Okay. And these attestations are created by the build time and become attached to the final image as a metadata. Okay, the purpose of this attestation is to make it possible to inspect an image and see where it comes from, who created it, and how and what it contains. Got it. So
Yeah.
by default, you have to run that command to see the SBOM. So here what we are doing by testing those SBOM is you are including it as metadata in the image itself.
Okay. And we can inspect with the other command which you just showed in the earlier other.
Yeah, correct. So if you need to embed that information, so just use SBOM to true and provenance to true and automatically it gets attached. Okay, so it says to make sure that attestations are preserved, you can use Docker container driver to --push to push the flag. Okay, so let me see that which builder we have. Probably that is the reason that scan is failing. Docker. Okay, so let me create a builder. Let's say the name of the builder is container. I don't think the name is required. Docker builder create. Let me take the hyphen name.
Driver we need to pass.
A driver it will be automatically taking as okay. It's not creator. It's create only. This is the reason. Okay, so our container is created now. Let me build it. Okay, I'll call it as V7. And then for building, I'll ask it to use builder by the name container. Okay, so first it has to boot that particular, uh, you know, container. Container means that is a builder. So it will run it inside that builder. So that's why it won't use the cache because it is a different environment altogether for this build. So it has to build from scratch. Okay, it has pushed that image. So with V7 as the tag. Okay, so let me see all the policies. Okay, so now if you see, it is compliant, but rest of the data, it is still calculating. Yeah, that is the reason. So, so we should use that driver. I thought the Docker container was already active. Okay, so you need to create that driver and then attach. Okay. And not only this, these policies, right, you can also analyze them or see them locally. If I just go to this Docker Scout, policy evaluation, view policy status. So on the UI level, anyways, I'll be able to see. I should also be able to see it in the, what do you say, the CI level. So Docker Scout policy. So the name of the organization that I have is, it's your Docker Hub username. This is the platform that I built the image for, and the name of the image. Docker Scout v7. Okay, just have to run it in your CLI. Okay, so it is fetching that policies. You can see policy status is success. 6/7 met, 1 missing data. Okay. So here the missing data is outdated base images data, as it says there is no data for this. Okay, let's see if we can fix it. Okay. So if you refresh this policy status for V7, it is 6 out of 7. So one data is missing, outdated base images. Let's click on learn more. Okay. There are cases when it is not possible to determine information about the base image in your builds. Okay. So in that case, it will just show you no data. To make sure that Docker Scout always knows what your base image, you can attach provenance attestations. But we already did that. Okay. So attest type is provenance, mode is equal to min comma max. Let's see what in max mode it will. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's also set provenance to mode to max. Okay, so let's build it with provenance set to max. Okay, I don't think I need to pass it as a separate flag, or should I include both true and provenance set to max mode? Let's see. Let's tag it as V8 and push. Okay. And also let me try to create this with hyphen no cache. So it will create from scratch without using any cache. So we need to see whether this builder supports hyphen no cache or not. Okay, it supports. Okay, so even though it has some cache, it will try to build from scratch. Okay, and also we are trying to attach maximum provenance information. Let's see whether it is able to, fix that issue. Okay, anyways, I can run that scan, get that policy information locally as well. Okay, so for V8, so it takes some time because policy evaluation, um, no results were found. I think it is still undergoing that scan, right? So we need to wait for V8.
So by attaching this, we can inspect, right? Can you run that?
So you can see now we are able to fix everything. Yeah, so you're asking about which
Inspect,
one?
buildx inspect command.
Yeah.
Can you run this command once on the any version?
I'm just taking that redirection. Okay. Got it?
Yeah. So because of we pushing only, we are able to do this, right? Or else we need to
Yeah.
use parse out CLI directly to get the package.
Correct. Yes. This is included in the image.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can see for this V8. So we fixed almost all the things. I mean, all the policies are now passed. Okay. If I try to run it locally also, I should be able to see all those policies as success. Okay. So for V8 in organization code is when no policy results were found. Are we missing anything? Maybe it will take some time. Then from CLI also you'll be able to pull that data, V8 related information.